Hi guys, tomorrow here in Washington DC something unusual is happening. The Immortal Regiment March is returning after a 6-year break. It's organized by Russian patriots, sponsored by Russia, and up to 300 people are expected to walk to the World War II memorial. This time the local authorities did give the green light, but not everyone is staying silent. Ukrainian activists are planning a protest against this event. So now maybe you've never heard of that Immortal Regiment. What is it and why is it supposed to be dangerous? What's wrong with it? Let me break it down for you. The Immortal Regiment is a Russian movement meant to honor those who fought in what Russia calls the Great Patriotic War, what the rest of the world knows as World War II. Every year on May 9th, Victory Day, people march holding photos of their relatives who fought in the war and died. That's where the name comes from, the idea that these people are still marching among us. So that actually sounds touching, right? And originally it was. The movement began in 2011 in the Siberian city of Tomsk, started by 3 journalists, Sergei Lopenkov, Sergei Kolotovkin, and Igor Dmitriev. Tomsk, by the way, is one of the most liberal cities in Russia, home to one of the best regional TV stations in the country. Of course, that channel, guess what, no longer exists. It was shut down, and its journalists are now in exile, as many other journalists of independent Russian channels. But back then, the Immortal Regiment felt, real. It felt human. It felt genuine. A grassroots act of remembrance in a country drowning in state-orchestrated victory parades in all that victory frenzy. And here is what happened next. As the movement grew, the state took notice. In Russia, when something independent gets too popular, the government moves in and takes it over. In 2015, the Immortal Regiment marched through Red Square. Putin himself joined, holding a portrait of his grandfather. From that point on, it was no longer a people's movement. It was a state project. It became a centerpiece of the Kremlin's patriotic narrative, Russia's past glory, its eternal victory, and the idea that victory must be repeated. By 2019, the marches weren't just about honoring World War II veterans. People began carrying portraits of Stalin, communist red flags. The leader of the Communist Party, Gennady Zyuganov, declared that anyone opposing this was a Russophobe. So in some cities, the Immortal Regiment marched under United Russia Party banners, the main party in Russia. There were reports of students and school children being forced to participate. It became a photo op for officials, a PR campaign, a tool to make it look like the people in the state were united. In fact, Moscow authorities spent over 135,000 on the 2015 march alone. By the same year, the original founders had had enough. They published an open letter to Putin asking him to stop replacing activists with government appointees. They never got a reply. And then the Kremlin took this movement abroad. Marches started popping up in the cities across Europe and the United States. In 2018, around 8,000 people joined the Immortal Regiment events in 20 American cities, including New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, D.C., even a reenactment in Ohio featuring a Russian tank. So why is this important to the Kremlin? Because Western audiences often cannot see the propaganda. They don't recognize the signs. They're more trusting, more vulnerable, and that's exactly what Moscow counts on. Since the war against Ukraine began, the Kremlin has drawn a line between World War II and today's invasion. They've added portraits of soldiers killed in Ukraine and even veterans of the wars in Afghanistan and Chechnya to the Immortal Regiment. That's not just history revision. That's in fact a war glorification. Even the original organizers protested, asking to dissociate from the movement the movement. So yes, the Immortal Regiment once honored the fallen, but today it's been hijacked. It's used to justify Russia's aggression in Ukraine, to export propaganda, to divide. That's why it matters. And that's why people are speaking up. If you want to dig deeper, I'll link to a great investigation by Zarina Zabriskie in the comments, especially about the regiment's activities in the United States. So just remember, this isn't an innocent remembrance. It's a state-sponsored event, and that now celebrates war itself. War itself, not peace, not victory, not memory. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.